Do you feel like you've been getting more mains from your community research or less mains from your community research during Entei's event compared to the last event, Raikor's event? If you were to say you feel like you've been getting more mains, you're probably correct. Because, well, actually that's what the developers had said, that the developers would rebalance the mains earned during this event so that we would get more than the last event. And based on everything else, including Pokemon spawns, mission mains, and even bundles, that actually has been true. We've been getting more mains. But the same actually can't yet be said about community research over here. Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video, it's Bro Vinny here. Let me stress that the data I'm about to show you is preliminary. Please do not quote me as fact just yet. We are still collecting data and we need your input. We need you guys to come help support us with this research by submitting your data as well. And I'll go through how to do that towards the end of the video. But first, let me show you our initial results of Entei mains from community research. The reason why I haven't waited until the very end to give you guys a more accurate analysis is because this information will be useless to you when we get to the end and I've got all of the data in the world to give you the more accurate version of it. So I wanted to get this research out there before the event ends. And that's why I had to make this video first. But we will come back towards the end of the event to verify whether things have changed since this video. So the numbers in these tables are not yet accurate enough for me to quote for any use, but to say that certainly if you're at closeness 5, you will get the most amount of mains every day from your friends. Our closeness 5 data is currently the most accurate because we've got over 1,000 reports. In fact, we found that there was about a 15% chance that a closeness 5 friend will send you a batch of mains. But at closeness 5, each batch is worth 3 mains, as you can see here. At closeness 4, 3, and 2, they will send 2 mains, and at closeness 1 and 0, they will send 1 main. So we multiplied that by 3, so on average, each closeness 5 friend is sending you about a half a main each. And if you had 50 closeness 5 friends, you will approximately get 23 mains every day. And I think so far that's the most accurate result out of all the closeness levels. But this number might be a little bit undervalued, and I'll tell you why. There's been reports that Sunday's envelopes carried over to Monday had a very low chance of giving mains. And you might go, that makes a lot of sense because some of your friends aren't in the research event yet, so they couldn't possibly give you mains. Well, several people have shown me that that's not true. On Monday, they actually received mains from people who were in a time zone where they haven't even entered the event. So at which point your friends can actually start sending you mains, and what the criteria is in order for mains to start being sent, I'm actually not sure. So because of those early reports, this number may be undervalued. So what I've done is I've ignored about 100 early reports and just did the numbers again with a smaller sample size with only later reports from about Tuesday, Wednesday onwards. And I found that the main drops did actually increase on average. So from 500 people who are sending candies, about 100 of them would send mains. And it works out that each day you'll get about 26, 27 mains from closeness 5 friends if you have 50 of them. But that's actually a little bit concerning. Whether it be 23 mains a day or 27 mains a day, that's actually less than what we had for Raikor's event. This was the data analysis based on Raikor's event. We had 32 mains every day from closeness 5 friends on average. And that was also based on over 1,000 sample size. So in other words, the developers may have nerfed the amount of mains that we can get from closeness 5 friends. Now you might be wondering, why would they do that? Because they were supposed to give us more mains so that we can exchange for more items from the Entei event compared to the Raikou event. And you would be right to think that. That was my initial thought too. But then when I thought about it again, between Raikou's event and Entei's event, you've had a lot more days and weeks and months to get your closeness levels up to closeness 5. So more people had more closeness 5 friends. So if they had kept to the same main drop rates, well, I guess the concern is they think we'll be farming way too much mains compared to Raikou's event because everyone has more closeness 5 friends. So I guess in the name of game balance, they may have dropped the rate of closeness 5 friends giving mains. But overall, we may actually still be getting a decent amount or the same or maybe even a little bit more mains compared to the last event. It just depends on, well, how many closeness 5 friends you had last time and how many closeness 5 friends you have this time. So that was neither good news or bad news. But there are some good news. In Raikou's event, almost everybody complained when they were new to the game or they just joined the game for the Raikou event, they're just starting out, almost everybody complained that they weren't receiving mains at closeness 0 to 2. And look, our sample size was very low at that point for several reasons, including the fact that, well, we only just started doing this kind of research, so we hadn't got enough people contributing, and also I had to manually check every single report myself, so this data was painstakingly put together. But regardless, we got about 1 to 2 mains every day if you're at closeness 0 to 2. 1 to 2 mains every day is not very good, and you would be about 30 times better at closeness 5, and somewhere in between for closeness 3 and 4. I'm happy to report that it looks like the numbers have improved a fair bit compared to Raikou's event for the lower closeness levels. But remember, the data is still in its preliminary stage. We don't have enough sample size yet, which is why I need your help to complete this research. Currently, if we include all data, including all the borderline cases that carry over from Sunday to Monday, we get about 2 mains at closeness 0, not too different to Raikou's event. But it seems to improve, again, low sample size, so don't quote me on these numbers just yet, but it seems to improve to double that at closeness 1. Then again, it improves at closeness 2, and again, improves or maybe stays about the same. These two numbers seem very close together at closeness 3. It doesn't really matter whether this is an increasing amount. The main thing is that overall, we're getting significantly more than Raikou's event at closeness 0 to 2. At closeness 3, we're getting numbers that are very similar to that of the Raikou's event. And for some strange reason, the number then goes down again at closeness 4. So it could be because that I just have a low sample size. So I'm still building on this research at the moment. So I'm not really sure if that's the case or if closeness 4 actually has a lower Entei main drop chance than closeness 3. So we'll find out towards the end of the event once I've gotten all of the data. But what is interesting is if we go back to our Raikou event data, once again, I didn't have the largest sample size at the time either. But back in the Raikou event, I also found that at closeness 4, the mains dropped were a bit less than closeness 3. Now, this is not statistically significant, but it is concerning that in both events, that's the case so far. Perhaps I'm just imagining things. Perhaps these are just the same number. It would be very strange for it to go down at closeness 4. Regardless, the point is still to try and get as many closeness 5 friends as you can in order to maximize your mains every day. But these red numbers are numbers that you can, for now, refer to. Just don't quote me yet, in order to know how many mains you're really meant to be getting every day. So if you have a full list of closeness 0 friends, you're expected to get about 1 to 2 every day. If you have closeness 1, then you're expected to get about 3 to 6 mains every day. If most of your friends are closeness 2, you get about 7 to 9 mains in a day. If most of your friends are closeness 3, you expected to get about 9 to 12 mains in a day. At closeness 4, you expected to get about 6 mains in a day. And then at closeness 5, you expected to get about 23 to 27 mains in a day. Now, in order for you to help me complete this data quicker with more accuracy, I need more people that are new to the game and just made a lot of new friends, because as you can see, my sample size is quite small at the low closeness levels. But it is important that we submit accurate data. So we do have checks in place to make sure the data is accurate, and if anything goes wrong, we usually ping the person on Discord to go, hang on, can I verify this data with you that you've entered this accurately? So ideally, you should be part of our Discord when you're submitting data. But I will leave a link to the Google form in the description and in the comment section below if you want to help out, even if you're not on our Discord. So if you click on this link, that takes you to a Google form in the description and in the comment section below. You'll be taken to about 10-15 questions that you have to answer, but it's actually really quick. First thing you want to do is input your Discord name, and I put that as a required field so that I know where the data comes from and how accurate the data is. If I see somebody that only ever reports when they see mains and never report when they don't get mains, I'd be very concerned that their data is completely skewed towards the higher end of main drops, because not dropping mains is all part of this research as well. If you don't want to use your Discord name, you can put your YouTube name, whatever it is, something to identify you every time you input the data. So use the same name if you can. And what I would recommend for you guys to do is either take a video or take screenshots of every single friends that send candies. That's the #1 thing. Before you click that next button, make sure you have a record of every single friend. For example, here, I've got 18 new reports. But with the 18 new reports, I want to know each friend's closeness level. So I've got these 2 friends here, and then I've also screenshotted the next 4, the next 4, the next 4, and the next 4. So I've got 18 reports all screenshotted. The screenshot is just for my reference so that I can look at it when I actually enter the data in the form. Once you get used to it, it's very quick. Then you would press next and see how many mains you've received. And also you want to screenshot everybody in this list to see the closeness level of each friend that sent you mains. So if you've screenshotted everything, what you can do then, what you will do is you put in how many reports you received from friends. The reports being this number here, how many friends sent you candies. And then you'll need to tally up how many friends had closeness 5. So in our case, I will put in 18. Then it'll ask you how many of those friends were closeness 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So then what I do is I go back to count. I've got 2 closeness 5 friends here. Then I've got 4 more closeness 5 friends. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 closeness 5s, 11, 12, 13. So there's 1 closeness 4 friend, 15, 16, 17, 18. So out of the 18 reports, 17 were closeness 5. So I put 17 here, and then 1 was closeness 4. So once that's done, I click next. Then we input the mains received. And this first part is pretty simple. You just input this number down in the form. So I got 9 there. Then this next part, also very simple, but don't put in the wrong number. If you do put in the wrong number, we've got checks in place that will actually automatically resolve it. But ideally, what you do is you count the number of each closeness friends that you have sent mains. Try not to use these numbers. You just go, so in this case, I have 3 closeness 5s and 1 closeness 2. That's the example in the form. The example I gave you guys earlier is I've got 3 closeness 5 friends. So what I want to put in the form is I scroll down to closeness 5 and I go 3 of them. Now, in some cases, a friend may level up in their closeness with you. Now, if this happens, what we usually do is we count it towards the new closeness level. So for example, Guidola here is closeness 4 with me. We count it towards closeness 4 because that's actually what the report says. it says this person is closeness 4 when you receive the report. I can't actually guarantee that the actual mains count from when they were closeness 3 or when they're in the new level closeness 4. I don't know that for sure, and there's almost no way for me to know for sure. But if we're consistent, at least it won't affect the data that much. So what we do is we still count it as closeness 4. You don't actually need to do anything. You don't need to go back and change anything if you've been following the steps exactly. As you can see here, Guidola's actually counted as closeness 4 during the reports. But I would like you guys just to make a note, and this will get recorded as well if somebody raised their level, because in the future we decide to change our mind. So just a short answer, for example, one person went closeness 3 to 4, and then I click submit. Now I'm not actually going to click submit because this data I've already submitted, but that's all there is. Once you've done this 2 or 3 times, it's actually really quick every time you do submit it. If you help us, especially with closeness 0 to 4, we'll be able to get more accurate data for future references as well. So shout out to everyone who's already submitted those thousands of reports, and a special shout out to /burner from my Discord, who's been helping me maintaining the Google form. If you have any questions, come over to the Entei mains research chat in my Discord and ask me there. So in conclusion, I don't think that we've overall been nerfed in our main drops compared to last time we had the event, unless you've had closeness 5 friends for most of your friend list for both of the events. You might actually find a drop in the mains that you've received. But for new players, the mains that you receive seem to have gone up significantly.